Indigenous Rights Radio, because knowledge is power.
In order for the green energy transition to be truly just and effective in achieving climate change mitigation goals, Indigenous peoples must occupy a central role in decision-making, leadership, and solutions. It is essential that policy proposals, frameworks, and projects that affect the rights and livelihoods of Indigenous peoples receive their full consent and participation. Indigenous peoples argue that development initiatives categorized under green energy, green economy, climate change mitigation, and conservation should not repeat the extractive practices of the past in their territories without their consent. Such actions do not constitute a just transition. Let's hear from Beaska and Nillas.
I'm Beaska Nillas, a Sami man from Sapmi. Sapmi is our region. We are indigenous peoples up north in Norway, Sweden, Finland and Russia. So we are spanning over 4 states or colonized by 4 states. I'm here in Geneva on this Indigenous Peoples Summit on Just Transition, and we want to bring also a message from Sapmi what we are struggling regarding the so-called green transition. Wind power is a solution or proposed solution to meet the climate crisis, but wind power in our region destroys and occupies especially reindeer grazing lands. So wherever wind power is established, there is a huge struggle to continue the livelihood of reindeer husbandry. And also it affects, of course, all peoples, and it destroys nature. So wind power is a big concern in our territory. So they propose this as a solution to the climate crisis. We also meet the climate crisis. The north is warming faster than anywhere else on the planet. So in the winter, we have rain now, and it never happened before. Like every 50 years it could be rain in the winter, and when it rains in the winter it freezes and it becomes this ice layer. That is a big problem for all the animals that are dependent on the land to graze and to live. So the catastrophe comes both with the climate crisis, and also the proposed solutions destroys the same land. So it's a double burden up in Sapmi. So that's maybe one of the points we will try to raise awareness about on this summit. There are of course other issues also: fishery, the warming waters, new species, and all that comes with it. So climate change and climate crisis, it affects all of us all around the globe, and we can bring to the table how it affects us.
The Indigenous Peoples Summit on Just Transition took place in Geneva, Switzerland from October 8th to October 10th, and Indigenous activists from around the world were present. Amina Amharech from the Amazight peoples tells us about the situation around transition minerals in North Africa.
Azul, bonjour, how are you? I'm Amina, I'm from Morocco, I'm Amazight. I'm here in Geneva to participate to the Just Transition Conference because I'm African, I'm Amazight, indigenous, and we are facing a lot of problem of climate change and also the land grabbing because of the new minerals and all this huge interest for minerals. So we are here to participate and in behalf of the African people and from different sub-regions to speak about what we are facing and also to bring our view and our vision about a just transition. We can say that we can have a just transition if there is no justice, if there is no recognizing about of what the indigenous people faced for long centuries. So we we want a just transition and equal transition, and to cut with all this colonialization culture and this mercantilism. And we bring our vision because we are looking at the world in a holistic way, and we can't speak about land, territories, resources without speaking about people, about a human, and also about the spirituality that linked us with our land and territories. So hope this conference brings something, another value, and to bring people and to bring countries to have a more open-minded, because we are part of the solution. We have the solution and we have the wisdom to find a just solution for a just transition. If there is no dialogue, we cannot speak about transition. So we have to find the transition and to want the transition and to open the way for the transition. Thank you.
The summit underscored the critical need to integrate indigenous perspectives, knowledge, and solutions into a global energy transition. Indigenous representatives from all 7 socio-cultural regions of the world stressed that a rights-based approach grounded in self-determination, free, prior, and informed consent, and the protection of cultural and land rights must be central to achieving a just transition. Adamou Amadou from Cameroon gives us insight into the situation in his territory.
Okay, I am Adamou Amadou from Cameroon. I'm coming from the pastoralist indigenous people in Cameroon. I'm leading an organization called Mbororo Social and Cultural Development Association, which is very well known as Mboskuda. So the Mbororo are spread in the whole Africa, especially in the Western Africa and Central Africa sub-region, especially also in Cameroon. So the Mbororo are cattle herder. So some of them are nomadic till now, pure nomadic, and some other have already been semi-nomadic, but later on some have already settled down because of the ongoing conflict and insecurity in the bushes. Well, concerning their challenges in the bushes, as I said, we have, first of all, we have the people number was grown at a long the years, and farmers also. So it has been grasping the rangeland area, so that the bushes have become very tiny now. They are facing with this conflict with farmer-grazer conflict, because there are a lot of farms, and then the transhumance corridor also are really becoming tiny, or sometimes somewhere else even non-existent. So this is bringing us back to the land issue and natural resources governance issue between cattle herder and the rest of the communities. Well, plus that, and in relation to this summit, what is important, and the important challenge is that about the natural resources. For example, the gold and metals which are exploited by the Chinese company in Cameroon. You know, we had before the farmer, and then we have also some ranching, the wealthy people who are ranching, and now we have the Chinese exploiting, extracting mine and gold in the pastoral zone. This causes a lot of really challenge of the pastoralist people. They don't have anywhere to feed their cattle because the water is polluted, and when they dig the big hole, the cattle just come in, and then they are dead. And the Chinese do not cover the hole after digging them, and then they really they have also, they can, if you try even to pass by, they can shoot on your cattle, on you as well. So this is a very big challenges going on in Central Africa sub-region, not only, but also in Western Africa. Well, what just transition means for the pastoralist, Mbororo pastoralist, it will mean, first of all, we are dealing with this issue of we need the economic growth, but clean economy, as they said. But for pastoralists, we have the environment first, and then later on we can put color on them. So now all these concepts we hear, like green, blue, we have the pastoralist, indigenous pastoralist environment. So if the just transition concept really want us to understand what they mean, they should include us from the beginning. If not, we don't understand what it means. How come that you just build up some 2 words and then you come and you ask us just to apply it? Maybe you have good faith, but if you don't understand it, if there is no sensitization, if there is not really exchange, so I think for us, we are not able to understand it. One. Secondly, our resources, natural resources, the rangeland should be really taken care of. If not, just transition will not mean anything for us. So our cattle, our traditional knowledge should all be taken in consideration, so that we can say, okay, also we are part of just transition, and we understood it. If not, I don't know what you are meaning. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It is important that indigenous peoples must have a leading role in decision-making processes related to energy and environmental policies if we are to effectively address the climate crisis we all face. Rukith Jampong from Malaysia tells us more.
Hello everyone, my name is Rukith Anak Jampong. I come from Sarawak, Malaysia. I'm here to attend the Just Transition Forum in Geneva. It is just transition. It's a good word, but how does it translate in the end is anyone's case. Yeah, it's a new thing, it's a new term, which is new to everybody. What more to say about indigenous people? Now, as we understand it, just transition is a transition from fossil fuel into something they call greener, or whatever it is. But how green and how good is the translation is yet to be seen. Now, whatever it is, we are talking about the activity which involve mining. Yeah, which involve mining. Mining, you're talking about land. Then you talk about the ownership of land. Who owns the land? And as you are aware, in my place, indigenous people is almost half of the population of Sarawak. But they own probably 80% of the land, because the other half, of which are non-indigenous, they stay in town. They stay by the river mouth. And the rest of the native, the indigenous people, they stay in the jungle. They own the jungle. They created the jungle and they stay there. Now all these minerals are in the jungle. Yeah. So just like the timber operation, when the poor native said, give us road, government said it's expensive, you are too far out. But when they come in to extract timber, then the thing is too far. They build their own road. After timber are gone, they just ignore the road, they don't maintain. Leave it like that. So the same may go to this mineral. So in Sarawak, rare earth is understood to be available, but I don't think extraction has started. And after that will be another mineral which may be useful for fine sand. That's what they say. The white clay kind of. I don't know what's the technical name, but anyway. So extraction of this will also damage the territory of the native people. And as I said, the definition of native land and government land always clash. Government always claim that it is their land, but to the native, we have been here hundreds of years. So we have been here. This is our land. This is our graveyard, and this is our garden. Yeah, and this is what we call pemakai menua. And that pemakai menua is what we created. Yeah, and the way we manage pemakai menua is one of the best in the world. We are talking about simple shifting cultivation, which means to say you preserve a lot of forest, you cut forest to do your farming here, following year you move a bit there. Yeah? By the time it's 20, 30 years later, you come back to the same spot, the forest already grow back to its natural state. So that is one of the ways in which we manage. Number one. Number two, we always keep forests. That's why we call it forest reserve. Now, this forest reserve, we believe, when we create the area beside the forest reserve, we always believe there are spirit. Yeah, we appease the spirit and we are going to stay here. Let us coexist. So if you want to move, there are a lot of trees, just yards away. So we stay there, and then inside there, that is where we go fishing, we go hunting, we collect fern for our vegetable, medicinal plant. Yeah. So all this, and we go there to speak to the spirit also. But you don't find it now. Most of the areas are already cleared for timber, land, plantation. Now, timber plantation is really destructive. Biodiversity gone. Flora, fauna gone. There's nothing left. So, our culture, our life, our soul also gone. So in the end, we are being displaced. What do we do to survive? A lot of us are in town looking for a job. Now without education, how can we find good job? So we are always at the bottom ladder of any job in town. And people make billions from our land that is taken from us. Yeah, so I hope somebody will come visit us there and you see the destruction. But anyway, you can just Google now. Yeah? There are a lot of it there. So that is the reality there. We are too weak to fight the case. We have a lot of court cases against them, but because of one case, which is Tuero Masada case, where the court decided that there is no force of law on our land, yeah, on the forest reserve, then that is where the problem starts. Other cases cannot move because each time we want to bring up the case, the argument by their lawyer, the company's lawyer, will just say they will refer it to that as a referral case for them. So for now, we are holding on and hope one day we are able to fight back, get our land back.
Cultural Survival's Edson Krenak from Brazil wrote an article about the conference, and in it he mentioned, quote, "From the indigenous standpoint, a profound shift, like the low-carbon, fully sustainable economies and ambitious climate actions, must have a rights-based approach. It must go beyond energy and economics. It must consider environmental impacts and address social costs, including the displacement of communities, loss of livelihoods, and exploitation of indigenous lands for transition minerals like lithium, nickel, and cobalt. Indigenous advocates call for transformative action to address enduring colonial legacies and injustice, as well as to prioritize the restoration and healing of nature. From an indigenous perspective, this transition must fully integrate environmental, social, and economic justice. For more on the rights of indigenous peoples, visit cs.org and follow Cultural Survival on Facebook and X.